I believe we are live. I am Amanda here with Game Brewer Games, and I am joined today by my coworker Wim. Hi, Wim.
Hello, good evening.
And
Good morning for you.
yes, depending, I think people are probably watching mostly around the world or later on YouTube, so it might be any time of day. Because after we're done this live stream, we will put this on YouTube for people to watch in the future. And today we are going to showcase Hippocrates on Tabletopia. So this is our latest game. It's currently on Kickstarter, and it's doing real well. We're pretty pleased with all our backers, so thank you if you've already backed it and you're watching this. But today we're here to talk about it being on Tabletopia, which is the way for you to experience it before the game hits shelves later in 2021. So it's a great way to get your hands on the game while it is still in the Kickstarter mode. So today, Wim is, while he works with me and he knows the game really well, he's going to play the part of the person who doesn't know a whole lot and ask questions as I teach the game. And he'll pretend he doesn't know things or or suddenly correct me on things that maybe I
So
get
this is a
wrong.
game about romance, or
Yes, no, we are in ancient Greece. So
okay.
yes, but before we get started, I just wanted to comment on your amazing background that you have behind you because this
Ah.
is. Tell us a
Thank
little
you.
bit about that.
It's a very secret project. It's
Top secret.
it's a work in progress of the cover art of one of the future games of Game Brewer
Yeah. So.
called Oak, designed by me.
Woo!
Yay!
Yeah, so I'll get a little teaser there of what the
I'll
cover
just
looks like.
go out of the screen for a sec.
It's so
So yeah, it's about
pretty.
an oak.
It's so pretty. I love it.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too.
Well, we are uh, pretty excited here that that's going to be coming to our Kickstarter later this year. But yes, there isn't a whole lot of details. It's sort of just a little bit of a
No.
teaser there for you. Still a work in progress. But today we're going to talk about Hippocrates or Hippocrates or Hippocrates. I wish that I could speak every language in the world because that would be fun. And Greek is definitely not one that I'm very good at. So let's get started. So this, let me see if I can just pull it over here. It's kind of doing its Tabletopia thing. If you're not super familiar with it, it is a virtual platform where you can essentially it sets up the game for you, but then you play as if you are all sitting around this virtual table. It's not going to do anything for you. Nothing is automated. You have control over everything as if it were just kind of sitting there on the table in front of you. Today, I will be playing purple. Wim, you're going to be playing yellow.
Yes.
And it's your player board over there. And we're going to kind of just give you a little bit of a rules overview of all the phases. And then we're going to walk through one round of play, just so you get an idea of the flow. I will try to peek back at the comments section every few minutes just to see if anyone has any questions or comments as we go. Let's get started. So Hippocrates is a game set in ancient Greece at the temple where patients are arriving from around the region, lining up in queues to be treated by doctors. They have a variety of ailments. Let's see if I can zoom in here because the art on these is dare I say pretty for a bunch of art of really sick people or just people in need of help, but it's the board is beautiful and then you look real close and this guy's covered in spots and
Yeah.
this
Sick
poor
people
lady
never
has
look this good.
a bleeding head there, but it's still it's very aesthetically pleasing. It's Laura Bevon has done an amazing job on all of the details of this game, and there are a lot of details because all the patients are different, all the doctors are different. But all right, so we have our patients. They're lined up. They need treatment. They're requesting a specific amount of medicine. I'm going to zoom in on one particular one here. How about this person appears to be suffering from a respiratory plague, has a mask on, very apropos, timely. And they're looking for three different types of medicine that you can see here. The blue, the green, and the purple. They're the potions, herbs, and unguents. and they need all three types of medicine to heal what ails them. And at the bottom, you'll see the number of victory points you'll get if you can heal this patient, as well as the amount of money that you'll receive for their offering as a payment for their treatment. The number you see beneath the name of the patient, that's going to come into play here in our 2-player game, also 3-player games and solo game. They're not used in a 4-player game. But that's all those numbers are used for. So that's the patients here in our welcome zone. And before I go through each round, we're just going to kind of go up here first. Oops. Oh, they just not do that. My Tabletopia skills have, okay, there we go. Now we're going to zoom in here on the doctor zone. And we have 4 doctors that are face up at the top of the board. Those are these little 6-sided hexagonal tiles. And if I zoom in on one of these doctors here, you can see they've got little notches on 3 of the sides. And if there's medicine inside those notches, so this one has 3, that means they have 3 contracts to fulfill. They can heal 3 different patients. This red one here on the left, Aristophanes, they only have a medicine on 1 of the notches. So they will only be able to heal 1 of your patients before they complete all of their contracts. So it varies between 1 and 3, the number. They also will give you victory points, and as well as cost you some drachmas in order to hire them. You have to kind of pay a recruitment fee. And there is also a number on those, which also comes into play here in our 2-player game, or 3-player game, or 4-player game. So while you digest that, I'm going to take a 2-second breather, just check back at the chat. I don't see any questions there. I hope it's streaming. It says it's live. So, but I know a lot of people will be watching later on YouTube. So we'll just keep going. Did you have any questions so far about our patients and doctors? We'll get into how they work in a second. I just wanted to give you a glimpse at what they look like.
No, for now everything is perfectly clear. Thank you.
Yeah, it's clear as mud, because you already know everything. All right, great. So the next thing we're going to look at here is our player boards. Player boards are where the patients are going to go before they receive treatment from your doctors. They have a top section here at the top of the board, which is the examination room. So the first place that your patients are going to come is the examination room. And for this round, that's where you can be working on them. And as we go into the second round, if you have been unable to treat any of those patients, again, I will go over the details of how to do that. They're going to move into the emergency room. And you can also be treating people here in the emergency room. And that's a good thing, because if you fail to treat them after those 2 rounds, they're going to go to this bottom part of your player board, which is the Hall of Hades, or the afterlife, and they're going to wander around there for eternity, aka they have died. So you don't want that to happen. You want to heal your patients before that happens. And then at the top of your player board, you have some reminders on some exchanges and things that can be done in game, as well as space for assistant tokens, which I haven't talked about. But if we zoom in here, you can see that they have one side that relates to kind of a help, a bonus that you may be able to get. And then if we flip them over, they can also be used as a exchange for some things you may need. So again, I haven't told you how you get them, but that's what they are. We also start the game with 6 drachma and 1 of each of the type of medicine vials. Unfortunately, here in Tabletopia, these vials are just cylinders of the respective colors. They do not match the shapes that you will see here on these medicine kits, but in the physical game, they will actually match the shape of those vials, so that they're even easier to tell apart. But we have blue, purple, and green medicine vials. All right, so let's kind of go over the different rounds of the game, and then we'll maybe not in extreme detail, because we are going to walk through a round, but I'll just kind of give you an overview, and then we'll try one out. All right, so the first phase of the game is called the welcome phase. And the welcome phase is when you need to collect patients. This is where you're going to get your patients and add them to your player board. We're going to have 3 rounds of this. So at the most, you can collect 3 patients per round. There's 4 rounds to the game. So in the whole game, you may get 12 patients, although there's some extra ones you can get on bonus tiles. But from this welcome phase, the most you can get is 3 per round. And the way it works is we have welcome pawns that are in our color here at the top of the patient area. And they're in the passive row, the top row. And when we go, we're going to go left to right. And that person is going to choose their pawn, move it to one of the available lower spaces. So the first person has a choice of 6. And they're going to pick their column. And they're going to then select a patient from that row. But they don't just have free reign of all the patients. We have these colored die here at the bottom of the board. And before each round, we're going to roll them. And so they are next to patients. Let's go ahead here, women. I'm going to roll them all, and then you can help me place them out just so people can kind of get an idea of what that looks like here. Okay, so let's just Tabletopia, if you do a shift and kind of select all of them, you can select them all at the same time, which is very handy because then you can roll them simultaneously instead of one at a time, which is a nice helpful little hint. And then you're just going to place them in the column that matches their region's color as well as the number. The die themselves have 2 1s, 2 2s, and 2 3s, so that you have those in probability. Okay. Great. So now when you're choosing your column, you are looking at collecting patients that are sitting next to these die. So if I wanted this column, I would be able to take this patient here on the top who wants 3 blue potions, or are those unguents? I think they're unguents. And he will get me 4 victory points if I heal him, as well as 5 drachma for collecting him. So that might be a good one. And I also want to look at the board here because underneath each of these tiles, there's a reward or a payment if I select that tile. So Wim, if you come over here and you select this second column, because you're like, I really like Mago here, or Majo, because you like purple, because you got some of those maybe saved up, and he's 4 points and $4. You would, 4 drachma, you would put your welcome pawn into this column and take this patient. You would also receive 2 blue vials from the bag to add to your supply. And then you'll see this little column symbol underneath this patient. That is a reputation. We haven't talked about that. That's a track that's above the doctor area, and it's going to be a very important track for dealing with your doctors, hiring doctors, payment of wages to your doctors. And you want to be higher on that track, that is further to the right. And you don't want to be lower on this track, which is further to the left, because then you have a poor reputation. Your team of doctors maybe isn't healing very many people, and you just haven't had a good reputation. Now, that red number next to the column down here indicates that you actually lose one of those reputation points. So you can take that patient, you'll get those 2 potions, but you will actually move to the left backwards on the reputation track. So I'm going to check the comments here. Did you have any questions as we...
Yes, what's the symbol on the welcome track? Or welcome space?
So that is related to those assistant tokens that I briefly mentioned. Everybody has one of each color that starts with their play area. They are not on your board. We're actually going to choose one before we start the game that you place on your board. And when it is available on your board, you can then spend it for either the bonus action or flip it over for the potion or drachmas. Now, the way that you get those onto your player board so they're available to activate is when you choose a patient in that column. So in our example, when you went to that second column to get the patient in the middle, you would also have earned that specific assistant and be able to add it to your player board if it's not there already. You can't have more than 1 copy of each of the same assistant. Now you can choose that column, spend that assistant token, do the action, and then reclaim that same assistant token within that same turn. You just can't have duplicates of the same one. Now what they do is it impact how you're able to select these patients down here. So for that one example where it was the little horizontal, let's see if I can zoom in here for our viewers, horizontal next to the die marker, that means, let's do this example. Why don't you move your pawn there into that second column?
Yes.
And
my skills are not
Yes,
that
no, no
great
worries.
either.
You're doing great. That's easy. You're moving your little pawn. That means now you're going to choose to move the die that's currently in your column to another column and bring that column's die back to your column. So maybe you don't want to
Okay.
lose reputation. You want a 1. You want to take that first patient. So go ahead and select, yeah, go ahead and take that turquoise die. You're going to move it over there. And then you're going to slide the purple one back to that teal column. So now whoever in the future goes into the teal column there on the second to the right is going to take the second patient instead of the first. And you're able to now claim this first patient.
Yeah.
You're going to take the potion underneath and add that to your player board. And yeah, so that's what that assistant does. Now the other assistant, this one here, see if I can zoom in, the middle, it's got an arrow going up or down. That allows you to just simply move the die within its own column. So you're not affecting anyone else's future turn, future selection. You are just moving that die up or down within that same column, and you can choose any of the other 2 spaces that you wish and claim that patient and take the reward or pay the payment. The last one is the scheduling assistant, and let's see if I can zoom in on that. It looks kind of like a representation of the player stacks here at the bottom of the board. And it instead of taking one of the 3 that are available in your column, you're actually going to take the tile from the top of the patient's stack and add that into your examination room instead. So instead, if you'd gone to this second column and didn't take that patient and you played a scheduling assistant, you would have been able to take Ashraf here with his 2 blue unguents and possible 2 points, and he'll give you 6 money. So he's got some money to spend to get treated. So those are the assistants. One last thing to note, after you select your welcome patient, you will remove the die. That really just kind of helps keep them off to the side so they're easy to re-roll for our next selection, as well as if somebody spends one of those exchange assistants, there will be less selection for them to take. So when we get through 3 rounds of this, which we'll do here after I've gone through the rest of the rules, you'll be able to see kind of a little bit more how that functions. Okay, so then after we have filled up our little play area here with 3 patients, we are, or maybe 2, you may end up taking next to gaps. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about that. If you go to a space in the future, there might be a die that's sitting next to an empty space. You will take what is printed on the board instead of a patient, unless you spend an assistant to move it and to take another patient. So you may not have 3 patients at the end of the round, but on each phase where you're taking a patient, you will get something for your efforts.
Yeah.
Now, this is an older version of the board we here have on Tabletopia. Hopefully we'll get that updated and it'll have the correct amount of drachma that you will receive underneath those spaces. Which
Do I also get the potion?
you do not get the thing that is beneath where that patient was, but you do get the assistant, which is depicted there underneath that space. So you will get 2 drachma and an assistant if you're playing with this version of the board. In the future, I believe it'll be 1 drachma and the assistant on the even columned spaces. Okay, so now that you have got some patients, before we get new doctors, more doctors, you have to pay your doctors that have been hanging out for a while. Now, we all start the game with kind of our basic doctor, one that's, the originator of our team, if you will, and they need to be paid. Now, payment is based on that reputation track that we talked about earlier. So if you zoom in there, you can see there's some drachma indicators above kind of little sections of that track. You need to pay your doctors the amount of drachma each that appears above your reputation marker. So if you have a higher reputation, doctors are going to work for you for low wages. They're just you're doctors without borders. You are the NGOs. You're taking care of people for free, and everybody loves you because you're helping the poor. And so they don't need many wages. But if you kind of have a bad reputation, sort of a shifty behavior, you're going to have to pay them more in order to keep them within your employ, up to 5 drachma for each doctor that you have in your employ. If you are unable to pay your doctor, they're just gonna leave. They're gonna go find someone else to work for, and they're gonna go back into the box for the future. And any patients you have attached, which we haven't talked about, we'll get into what happens with them. So if you can't pay them, they go away. That's phase two. That's really simple. You just have to payment. You just pay your doctors. Now, the third phase, kind of the most complex here of the game, and that is the recruitment phase. This is where you get new doctors, you get medicine, and you may even get some bonuses. But as you can see here, Wim, the doctors are all face down. You can only kind of get an idea of what medicine they are able to use from what's pictured on the back, but you don't know how many contracts that they have, how many patients they can heal, maybe even the exact combination of those types of potions and unguents and herbs on the other side. But you do have these 4 region free doctors which are face up right now. So to start our recruitment phase, you can actually reserve or option one of these doctors. Now, this is done in reputation track order, which opposite from the welcome track goes right to left. Whoever has the better reputation, so on the farther right, is going to be able to choose their patient first. We all have one option disc, which is this little disc. I'll kind of bring it up here on the screen so players can see. It says 2 drachma, and the red drachma indicates you pay that instead of gain it. And if I am up in reputation track order, I am going to place my option disc on whichever one of these doctors I want. I pay those 2 drachma immediately, and then nothing else happens. That doctor does not go away. I'm just saying I am interested in buying this doctor either in conjunction with another doctor once they're revealed, or maybe because I'm scared that when we flip those over, they're not going to have the doctor I need. So I'm saying, no, 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 I at least want to be able to buy this doctor. If you do not
Is this
choose to,
mandatory?
it is not
Oh,
mandatory, but
okay.
if you do not choose to option a doctor right now, you won't be able to option it later. If after they're flipped over, you're like, oh, I actually want that one
Yeah.
up top. If you didn't prepay, you don't get to take that doctor. So we would do that here in this example. Red would go, then blue would go, then purple, who's on top, and then yellow underneath would get to go last. I have not talked about what happens here with those numbers in the 2 or 3 player game. I'm going to come back to that just after we kind of understand all of the rules. But I would, if it was my turn, and I would option this doctor if it's not already optioned. And then once we've all had a chance to do that, we then move on to the main phase of this game, which is when we would flip all of these over. Now, I'm not going to do that right now just because we're going to actually do that in our game. So I don't want to give you an advantage for the round we're going to play, Win. So, or myself an
Aha,
advantage.
no!
So I'm not going to flip them over. I'm just going to leave them as is. But you would flip them all over now, and then so you can see what they are. So maybe I'll just throw this guy over here. Oops. Well, Tabletopia also has like feels like real world physics. So and Tabletopia, if it highlights orange like that, it will flip it upside down. So I don't want it to do that. Okay, there we go. So we're pretending they're all face up like this. And it's my
Yes.
turn. Again, looking at the reputation track order. So there are many reasons you do not want to be a disreputable doctor. So the more reputable you are, the better advantage you're going to have in some of these selections. If I am up and I'm looking at what's available, each of these are medicine or doctors, and then underneath we have the medicine kits, which is where you pay to get medicine. And then the very bottom row is a bonus track where there are bonus tiles. On your turn, you can choose to buy hire either one doctor, so you choose a doctor from any available column, or you choose to buy one medicine kit from any available column, or you choose to buy both the doctor, hire both the doctor and buy the medicine kit as a bundle, paying the price of both. And then, and only then, is when you would get to take the knowledge token or bonus action that appears below that in that same column. So when I said available, that means the doctor and the medicine kit of that column both have to still be face up to be taken. So if I take this medicine kit here and there's a face up doctor here, you would not be allowed to take that doctor because that column has already been activated. So there is no marker to indicate, but just the removal of either the medicine kit or the doctor
Yeah.
invalidates that whole column for this game, for this round. Game, not round. So let's say I wanted to buy this doctor, this medicine kit, and this doctor, being my basic doctor, doesn't have any drachma on it. But up here, if I look at this option doctor, let's say it's 6 drachma. I would pay 6 plus 18, take 24 drachma, and return them to the bank. And then I would be able to take both of these into my play area, as well as this knowledge token. Now, the medicine kit is just discarded. You would then remove 2 blue cylinders, 3 green cylinders, and 3 purple cylinders from the bag, adding those to your play area. And then the tile itself is just discarded. Oh, I forgot one very important thing, because I know, Wim, you're sitting over there going, I don't have much money.
Yes, that was
Uh,
exactly what
yeah, I forgot to say at the
That's true.
end of
Yeah.
collecting those patients, that's when you take their money. So once you have collected 1, 2, or 3 patients, you look to see at the numbers of the offering that they're saying, I'm willing to pay you
Ah,
6, or I'm willing to pay you 7. So before you have to pay your doctors for their wages that have been left over from future rounds, and before you have to get medicine kits and hire doctors, you will have a little more money from the first phase there when you took in your patients. Thanks for asking, Wim. I know that that was
that's an encouraging thought. Thank you.
yes, I know you were very concerned because I had failed to mention that. So you will have some money, which is good because money is very tight in this game. So I
Yes.
could pay for the doctor, the medicine kit, and then take that knowledge tile. All the knowledge tiles are one-time bonuses that you can use in the game. Some of them must be taken immediately, and that's indicated by this little lightning icon, which I've brought here on my screen. I would have to take those 5 drachmas as soon as I acquire that knowledge tile. Um, and the rest of them you kind of keep in your play area to be used when appropriate. So this, for example, is a patient that you get that's not part of that patient phase. So that's how you can possibly go beyond 12 patients that you could heal in the game. And
Do I
sometimes
have to place
there's
that patient in the
no,
examination room?
you do not. It's actually also not one that's going to possibly move to the ER or down to the Hall of Hades. So that's also a nice thing about the knowledge tiles is you're not
He's immortal.
fully, yeah, they're a little more durable. Maybe he just has a cold. He's not. There's nothing super dire about him. Some of them are actually also doctors that have a one-time contract that are usually pretty easy to fill that you also don't have to pay wages for because they're also not sitting out on the table and they will only go down immediately and be discarded as soon as they are used so because they're one-time use. But we haven't talked about treatment yet, but that is so how that goes. And then this is other tile I'm bringing up here on my screen is sort of old iconography. We're working on getting Tabletopia to change that over to the new iconography, which is a little bit easier. But this really just means whenever you welcome a patient, so the die they're welcoming, in addition to the normal reputation you get in the column of that reputation, you would gain 4 extra reputation in if you take a Athenian patient. So there will be a
Yeah.
picture of the back of the Athenian patient, so it's very clear, and then an arrow pointing to the 4 reputation points. But we've kind of improved that a little bit, so that will appear shortly here in this Tabletopia version. All right, so where was I? Oh, we're recruiting doctors, medicine kits, and possibly getting those knowledge tiles. If you don't take both, you only get either the medicine kit or the doctor. But whether you do 1, 2, or 3, or even nothing, you could just pass, then you are also allowed to buy the doctor that you optioned if you did so. The nice thing is those 2 drachma that you already paid, because I know you're concerned about money, Wim, uh,
Hmm.
it is
That's my main
deducted.
concern.
Yes, it's very important. It's deducted from the cost you have to pay. So you don't get it back if you're like, I don't actually want that doctor. But if you do decide you want that doctor, you still have to pay the cost of the doctor. So here that's 4, but I've already paid 2. So right now, at this moment, I would only have to pay a further 2 drachma to take that patient into my play area.
Okay.
So that is the hiring doctors and buying medicine phase. That's where you get your medicine and you get your doctors, which is very important because phase 4 is treatment. So this will happen simultaneously. You don't have to wait for all players to do the treatment phase, but you may want to in your first game or two. But all the doctors that you have acquired, so I've lost my basic doctor here. I'm going to come back over. Um, and any patients I may have acquired. So let me just steal this one patient here. Put her in my examination room. She's very, very pregnant. So she just needs some healthy herbs to help her baby be born. And this doctor is like going to be able to match up with that, because you have to look at all the doctors you have. And so this one can do purple, green, or blue. And this patient is like, well, I need purple medicine. So you're like, oh, perfect. This doctor can help with that. So you would take your patient and add it to this doctor. Now with Tabletopia, if you hit Control and then, oh, I have to drop it first, highlight it, hit Control, and then I can rotate the patient to kind of line it up more with the angle of that doctor, like so, because I can do this magically. I'm super good at this technology. I'm so close. Oh, so close. We're pretending that I'm amazing, and this worked.
Yes, wow.
Woo.
Your skills are beyond anything I have ever seen.
I know, so I'm like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. All right, so I've lined it up. It's beautiful. And the potion on the doctor, let me zoom in here. The potion on the doctor, as well as this beautifully lined up patient, is looking for purple medicine. I would also then hopefully have.
Sorry.
Oh, you're stealing it. You're stealing my doctor. You're like, I need him. He's too good. Yes, that is my doctor, my patient. And then I would look into my supply of medicine, which here in our example I do not have, but we're pretending that I have 3 purple vials of medicine. I would add all 3 purple vials of medicine to this tile, and as long as it matches up to the doctor, matches up to the patient, have enough medicine vials, I can treat this patient. And that is what I'm going to do with all the patients I have, all the doctors I have. I'm going to try to line them up. Once this patient is attached to this doctor, I could, have another patient on the other side of this, on the green or the blue, that's maybe needing 2 doctors. So this doctor on that one notch can only do purple, but if this patient needed purple and blue, I would have to have another doctor that could go on this other side here to treat the blue, as well as this doctor treating the purple. And this is more, we'll go into detail when we play our fake round here, so we'll just kind of give that as an overview. But you have to line up the patients with 1 or 2 doctors, fill it with the right amount of potions, and then once all that's done, we complete our treatment phase and move on to scoring. Now, scoring is going to happen each round, as well as there's a separate endgame phase. But in regular scoring, you're going to look back over here at your player board and see, did you fail to heal any of your patients? They're just still sitting over here. If so, they're feeling rather ill. And they move into the ER, so they're getting a little bit sicker. Anyone that was in the ER from the second round on, before you move down from the examination room, they're going to go down here into this pile, be flipped over, and they're wandering the halls of Hades. They did not survive. But here after the first round, there won't be any in there, so you'll just move from the first to the second, and in the future from the second to the third, then the first to the second. And then we're going to get some reputation. So you look back over at your treatment area and you see how many patients are sitting there currently with a bunch of vials on them. And however many patients you treated this round is going to give you 1 point of reputation. And that's great because you want good reputation. So look at me, I healed some people. People will start clapping and want to come visit you because you have doctors that don't let people just die. So they go up here on the reputation track for healing your patients. And then you're going to actually discharge those patients, which means you're going to take the points from them. So if in our previous example, this one attached so beautifully before to this doctor, it's going to give me 3 points because I healed them completely. I return the medicine vials to the supply, I flip that tile over, and then I have give myself 3 points on the victory point track, which is goes around the board here. We start over here, and I would just add up 3 points as I hopefully then eventually move all the way over here to get 90, 100 points. It'll be great. So for all the patients I've treated, I get those, but you don't remove them right away. Now you just flip them upside down. Again, you'll see this a little bit better when we are going through the little full round playthrough, but this is because the uh, 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 some of them are going to be attached to 2 doctors. Now, your doctors, if they don't have all of their contracts, but 1, 2, or 3 filled, they're going to have to stay for a future round. But you want to remember that, oh, they already treated that one patient, so you don't have to treat another one in that area. And also that you can't treat another one in that area, even if you wanted to have a purple. So you flip it face down. It's going to stay there until the game until they complete in a future round. All right, hopefully I didn't lose anything there. My computer blipped, so I think I still have Tabletopia and it's still streaming. Great. Fingers crossed. All right, so that is the first bit. Then you're going to retire your doctors if they do have somebody on all of their different contract spaces. So here in this basic doctor, if they've got all 3 patients on one of each of those spots, I'm going to get 4 points. Then the doctor goes back to the box. Any patients that are only attached to that doctor and not any other doctors, they also get removed because they're face down. You've already scored for them, whether this round or the last, and you kind of clean up your play area a little bit for the future. Now, the basic doctor that you have can be discarded for those 4 points. You are allowed to instead choose to keep that doctor if you want the flexibility, but you have to keep in mind you will continue to pay them drachmas, their wages, for the future. So most likely you'll probably want to discharge them or retire them once they've completely filled their contracts, but you do have the option of just clearing their patients and keeping that basic doctor for the flexibility to use those green, blue, and purple potions and medicines. But you don't have to, because you have to pay them. So they can get expensive depending on how your reputation is doing. All right, so that is the full scoring at the end of the game. If you, because you will have moved some possibly down from the examination room to the emergency room. At that point, maybe there's a Pompeii is exploding over there in Italy, and ash is floating all the way across the Aegean Sea or whatever it is to Greece. My European geography might be lacking. Something is happening. We don't know. And you kind of are leaving them there in the examination room, all your leftover medicine, and they can self-treat themselves. There's no doctors, but you say, here's some medicine. If they're able to completely heal themselves with medicine vials, then they are removed from the game. If you can't, you will lose 1 point for every patient that remains untreated, self-treated in your emergency room, as well as -3 points for all of the people that died in the first 4 rounds. And then you add that or subtract that from your little victory point track score. Whoever has the highest number of points wins. And if there's a tie, it's going to come down to how reputable you are within the medicine community. So are you willing to give this a quick, just one of those 4 rounds a try here, Wim?
Sure.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for being such a good sport.
Thank you for your explanation.
Yes.
Just one more question.
Of course.
What happens if there's a tie on the reputation track?
Whoever is higher above, who's sitting on top, is considered in advance. So when you are moving, if this blue one is going to come along here and jump on top of this, they are going to be considered ahead of the red token. Now, these are set up for a 2-player game. Tabletopia does that automatically for the setup. So that the neutral players are they're really reputable neutral doctors. Now, what happens here in our 2-player game to kind of keep it a little bit tighter for us is their pawns are out here. When they are up and they take their turns in normal player order, so here to start, they'll go after us. That's when those numbers are going to come into play. And we take a look at the patients that are next to die that are in available columns, so there's no pawn in them. And we then look at that number, and whatever's the highest number next to a die, that neutral player will just choose to go to that column. That patient is discarded back to the box. And that's true in a 2 or 3-player game. It's quite simple, but it does just keep the board a little bit tighter, keeping things moving and exchanging and flowing. And then for the doctors, same thing will happen. They will option the next highest available doctor. And since they're really high in reputation, that means we're going to get the lower numbered picks here until we improve our reputation. And they don't have option discs or anything you need to worry about. They simply just get removed back to the box. Again, just keeping it a little bit tighter. And then when it comes time to choose from a medicine kit or doctor column, they're going to also remove the doctor that is the highest value when it is their turn to go. So for us, 2 of those doctors will be gone until we improve our reputation here in this. You won't see that here in this first round probably, but and then if you're playing solo, you are actually going to be collecting some points from those discarded patients and doctors and so forth. But when you're just here in our 2-player game, it's just going to remove tiles to keep it a little bit more consistent. So let's give it a go, and we'll kind of just start here with the welcome phase. And you are the first player, so hopefully I've done my job, and you can use your prior knowledge of the game to make a good selection. Actually, before we start, we get to choose one assistant.
I chose the one from
the charitable assistant, the one that moves up and up and down. Okay, great.
Yes. That one. I didn't know the correct.
But
I chose that one. So I'm going. Where is my hand? Oh, there. So I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to use my assistant to place this die here.
Oh, okay. Right. Using your assistant already. That's great.
Yeah, but I automatically gain it back because I'm in the...
Yes, excellent.
In that column. So I take this one and lose 1 reputation and gain 2 green potions or herbs, I guess.
Yes.
So I'm going to lose reputation. I'm already a shifty one.
Oh, but that was pretty good because it needs 2 green herbs and you draw 2. So I think that's when they're going to give you 6 drachma when they give you the offering. So that's pretty good too. And they're going to go in your examination room and take up one of those spaces. And while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and take my action. I have chosen the exchange assistant, but I don't know that I could do something quite as clever as you because there's some potions to be had and loss of reputation, but they don't quite match as well on there. That one was a good one. Maybe I value my reputation. I'm very concerned about being disreputable. So against possibly better judgment, I'm going to go over here and take this column because I'm going to take this patient, which gives me 2 reputation, as well as I'm happy that they will give me some 5 coin eventually. I do not take that right now. So I don't know if you feel confident in doing the neutral player assessment there while I slowly grab some potions or move my reputation track.
Purple is going to take the highest number patient, so I think that's 58. Over here.
Yeah, and it just gets removed back to the box.
And then red is going to take 36.
Great. Now I'm sad because I did not get a new assistant, but we now have some gaps in our board. Those don't get refilled right now. We're going to just slide our welcome markers back up to this passive row here, and then we'll be able to begin again. But now red is in the beginning, so these neutral players played better for their first picks. So they're going to once again remove some patients from here, giving us even less options. So
we first have to roll again.
Right? Yeah. So first player, whoever that is, I guess our neutral player. So we'll do it for them since they don't have hands. Kind of just slide these all over to the one area, make it a little easier for us, huh? And then, would you like to showcase your Tabletopia skills, or shall I roll them?
I'll showcase my skills.
Excellent.
Yes, I managed to select one die.
Good skills that you have there. 4. There we go. Great. And then I'll just each take one. They're going to match the column color. So this is red. This is the green. Again, obviously, and we're all been doing these virtual games. Some things take just a little bit longer, but knowing the tricks, how your amazing skills of rolling them all at once, that was, sped things up significantly. All right, so there we have our new die placement. The neutral players are going to once again select, I believe, what number is, I'll have to zoom in here. I'm an old lady. So we have 11, 63,
68.
and 68. So I think it's going to be the red's going to take that 68, and blue is going to take 63. So those columns are no longer available, and these patients are going to be removed. I guess I should probably move that farther away since I don't want to accidentally pretend I have it. Virtual box. Okay. And now you are up before me.
Yeah.
I will do a quick check at the comments to see if anyone has any questions. Looking likely.
I'm going for this one. Okay. So I take 1 blue potion and a new assistant. Oh no, I already. Yes.
That's a blue arrows going horizontal. The exchange assistant. So you were doing well on that exchange game. Yes.
Already cheating because I took a 5 drachma instead of blue potion.
Yes, eventually we take all our offerings once the end of this 3 selection phase. Now I really want to not go last again, so I'm going to go into this first column, guaranteeing me first pick here in that last phase of the game. And I'm a little sad. I could spend my assistant token to move that die to get a different number. So why don't I do that, since we haven't demonstrated that yet? Which means I'm going to exchange. I would actually really like this easier to treat herb Althea. So I'm going to need a 1. Oh, and we've been neglecting to remove our die. So
oh yeah.
I'll just, whoops, that happened earlier. You didn't see it. And this one's gone too. Oh, so now I'm really sad. So the die get removed from the columns that have already been selected. So I may have wanted that very easy to treat Althea, but I can't. So I can actually take this 3 here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to swap out. This column wasn't selected by anyone else. So I'm going to move that there. I'm going to move this one back over here. I'm going to take this patient. I'm going to get 1 victory point. Woohoo! I'm winning. And
don't you need to take the number 3?
Oh, sorry. That was the one I wanted. So you see my desires manifesting.
Yeah.
Here, my actions causing me to inadvertently cheat. I take this much harder to complete, yet worth more victory points and gonna give me more money. And I still get that 1 point, so I'm still winning. And look at me, I'm winning. Woohoo! And I gained another reputation, because I'm very concerned about my reputation. While you are hoping to get some money, I'm really concerned with how people think about me. The social media of the ancient Greek world.
They call me this shady.
Shady, yes. Do I have enough likes? I don't know. All right, move that over there for you. And that last blue die hanging out here in the middle. Ugh. Whoops, moving the whole screen. Everyone's getting seasick. My apologies. So, okay, I'm gonna let you showcase those skills again as you roll all the die. It's gonna be great.
Please let me do that. Yeah, that's not the correct button.
much better than last time. All but one.
No,
Instead of
much,
one.
much worse.
Oh! Well, first time you only selected one, and then you selected more. But there we go. Okay. So then we're going to move these out. This is going to be our last, the last phase. You'll see us. Oops, that's not where that goes. Do not do that, friends. Wow, we were much. Apparently, we're getting worse. Like we need coffee or something. Okay. So sad. We are. I'm blaming this computer or something. I'll let you do that one. All right, because I'm first. I'm up. I have to select. Pressure is on. And I spent my exchange token, so once again, I'm cheating. So we're just going to move that off my player board. I didn't get that. Although, that makes me sad. But I have first pick, so I need some medicine. I've already taken some green, and I see no opportunity to take green, do I? Nope. I'm going to demonstrate. I want to get an assistant back. I'm sad I don't get the potion, but I do get some money and an assistant because that will help me in the future. So I'm going to go here. That's next to this gap. So in the future, on a different printing of this board, it'll say 1 drachma and 1 assistant. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take that 1 assistant, which is this little charitable assistant. I'm going to add that to my player board, and I'm going to take 1 drachma. And that was my brilliant turn. Totally worth going first for that.
Yeah.
And I removed the die. I do remove the die.
Master move.
See, we're learning. I do remove the die. And then you are second.
Yeah. Just quickly checking my potions.
You are playing far more strategically than I.
Yeah, perhaps
do as Wim does
for a demo game. No, I'm going to go to the first column again, but I'm going to use the green assistants. So I can take 4 drachma.
Checking the comments here, we have one viewer named Rudy who is tuning in, who is asking in the comments for us to move, saying we don't have to move the welcome pawns up and down to the other line. But in our most recent version of the rulebook, the pawns do move back up to that starting row just to kind of keep it clear, so as they don't get any confusion on whether you're moving up or down. For more experienced players, you definitely don't have to. You can kind of just swap back and forth. But for those of us just learning the game, it's nice to move them back up to that starting rule. All right. Well, that's just for our viewers here in the future. We have another viewer who is letting us know that is now clear for them and them alone.
So,
all right.
I'm gaining 4 drachma.
Oh, so you're getting all that money that you were concerned about.
Yes, big spender.
All right, so then our next, last thing to do is to move the, this guy. Oh, I guess I should figure out which are, we've got 26. We've got 31. 26 at 31. I think that is it. So both of those are going to get removed here. So we're going to go to 31 over here. And this gets removed. And then red is going to come over here and remove 26. Like so. Okay, fantastic. So that is the welcome phase. We have all had a chance to welcome. Before we begin the next round, I will talk about what happens for resetting for future phases, but we don't do that right now. We leave things as they are, but we can slide our little workers back up to the top row for those of us that are not experienced enough to go back and forth, up and down without getting confused. Fantastic. Okay. So the next phase is when we pay our doctors. Now here in the first phase of the game, first we get our money. We do get our money. Yes. Which is what I forgot earlier. I know you're very concerned. So I'm going to get 10 drachma and add that to my wealth here. And the
going to
coins
get
are ones
11.
and fives. So the little gold ones, I don't want to select the whole pile. I want to take this, flip it over. We have 5 written on the back there in case you need a reminder. But I'm going to take 2 of these guys and give myself 10 drachma. Fantastic. So I have some money before I need to pay my doctors. Then I'm going to take a look. We're both going to take a look here and see how much we have to pay our doctors. This can also be done simultaneously or in player order as we're learning things here. So I am in this middle section with y'all. I didn't manage to climb out of that hole into the area that red is in, so I only had to pay 2. I also still have to pay 3 drachma for my doctors. Luckily, we only have 1 here to start the round, so everybody can pay their 1 or more doctors' wages. Again, if you don't have the money or you don't want to pay, you can discard them, but it's, it would be very unadvisable for me to discard my only doctor. So don't do that. But you don't have to pay them. If they do have a patient attached to them that is attached to another doctor, you would not remove that patient. But if they're leaving because you don't pay them and there's a patient attached to them that's not attached to any other doctor, they would also just go back to the box at that time because they've already scored you points. Yeah. And then have you also taken your payment for your doctor? Yeah. Great. Look at all the vials you have because you're so prepared. Yes. All right. So then we're moving into the recruitment phase, and I have managed to jump ahead of blue there, so I'm a little bit happy. But first things first is red is going to remove one of these optionable doctors. So we take a look at the numbers on the top. We have 22, 13, 9, and 20. So unfortunately, if you could remove Ashcan there on the far left, that is the 22. Red is going to remove this doctor to the box. Bye-bye. And then it is me. I am up next, and I am looking at what I have. I need green and I need blue, which my basic doctor does provide me. So maybe I'm not super stressed about getting one of these. I'll see what is available in there. So I shall pass on my option ability, which I guess this is there from my demonstration. So I'll remove that. And then it goes to blue. So the next highest number is 20, and you are left with those 2 choices. Would you like to option a doctor?
No, I'm going to pass as well.
Okay. Fantastic. So money is tight. We're both concerned. So we're not optioning. That means if after we flip them, we're like, I wish I would have bought that doctor. You're not going to get to do that. So here on Tabletopia, as I mentioned before, if you pick it up and then hit F, it flips the tile for you. And then when you place it back down on top, you just want to make sure it's not orange. So, because otherwise it will just flip it back over. And so you have to be smarter, because we are all smarter than this computer, right? Come on, stop.
I'm trying to be.
I know. In practicing this, it was definitely very enlightening to see. Oh, see, I just wanted to demonstrate what happens as did you. We both just wanted to demonstrate what you don't want to do repeatedly over and over and over again. I got it the first few times. Come on. Haha! Winning. All right. So now we have our available doctors, and we look at reputation track order. And once again, red is winning. So I'm going to zoom in here. We have 1, 21, 15, 25, 11, and 8. They're going to choose this column. So even if I wanted this doctor or the medicine that goes there, too bad, so sad, I do not get to take that medicine kit or doctor. That column is dead to me. But I'm next, so I'm also very excited. Being the reputable doctor that I am, I am going to get medicine, because unlike you, I did not get many medicines, and I am not going to be able to treat both of these doctors. I don't think. Oh, unless I spend like almost all my money. Oh,
Take a
Well,
gamble.
yes, I think I'm going to. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pay 12 because then I will be able to treat both my patients, and then I'll be less sad. So I'm going to just take that while I do my payment of 12 coin and take all those vials. Would you like to remove for blue and then take your turn as well? Now you are no
Yes.
longer to take from this column in the middle as well. So that is
So
also off limits too.
blue is going to take 21, but that's fine by me because I'm going to take the honorable, what's his name? Merzart.
Mozart.
Merzart.
Yeah, some great
And I'm
names.
going to get the bonus, get the bundle, so I have to pay 16 for him.
Ooh, because you got money.
And then 12 for this. I'm going to take the potions later. And I also get this guy because it's the bundle, right?
Yes,
Bundle
so
bonus.
you did that so well to demonstrate that you get both, and then you get the knowledge bonus tile, which you can choose to keep in your hand. Doesn't take up any. Uh, uh, you don't have to pay him wages or anything.
So that's 16 drachma I have to pay.
Look at us, experts in using Tabletopia, quickly moving
Yes.
our potion vials as fast as I can over to my play area.
So there goes all my money.
Yeah, I'm broke too, but you got a bundle. I'm broke from a medicine kit. So this is good. This is good. We're doing good. All right.
Hold on. I'm going to take 1 blue medicine, then
Nice.
3 greens.
Excellent. Excellent. And so now I should talk about resetting this zone because we actually do want to reset it here for the next phase. We're going to move all the doctors that are in the recruitment zone or the region free zone here over to the right. And then everything that's still face up here needs to kind of go away. So it's going to slide over like so in a little clockwise pattern around the board. But we don't have room for this last one. So actually then we look over here to this poor doctor who no one wants to hire him for some unknown reason. Maybe he is going to bring down your reputation or something. And then you slide over the patients until you fill up that region free zone with doctors from below. Everything is now face down. And should you not have enough to bring up here, because everybody buys doctors down here and options a lot up at the top, because we could have, if we had optioned, we would have been allowed to do that as well. So you can end up with 2 doctors in one round. But if you don't have enough, you can take from these 2 extra doctors up at the top here to fill in any empty spaces. If those are gone, then there's just going to be less doctors to option in the next round. These medicine kits and these knowledge tiles will get reset here at the end of the round, but since I know you would love to see me flip all those over and move them, I'm disappointing you by saying I'm not going to
yes,
do
please.
that. No, I think we don't.
I don't quite understand how you.
So, but that is normally just done at the end of the round because it's. But you just want to make sure you clear out those doctors here before you forget. So, now that we have recruited new doctors and gotten some more medicine. Oh, I should discard this tile here so it's not confusing. From my very tidy play area. Simultaneously, women are going to treat our doctors, and I should maybe.
Patients.
We treat our patients with our doctors. But yes, the patients need healing. Physician, heal thyself, I believe is the expression. So, all right. So I will let Wim do his thing over there while you can watch me and my super Tabletopia skills over here. And then we'll go check in on Wim and see how he's doing. So players can do this simultaneously. You are allowed to take turns if you prefer for your first game or what have you. But I'm going to attach. Now, I didn't have to do the fancy turn on mine because I could have just done it with the other right click of my mouse. But I wanted to show you my super spinning skills. So I am matching a patient from my examination or my ER with that doctor and the type of medicine that they can treat. And I'm going to go over here and add the green one as well. This one needs to be a little bit fancier. Highlight, control, open. Fancy, look at that. So close. So close. And then I'm also going to place, oh no, that's really not going to work because the physics are real. Okay. And then I'm going to place my medicine vials again. Shift. Give me a couple at the same time. Let's not move the screen, make everybody seasick. Okay.
This looks like a dexterity game.
Yeah, no. Only
No,
for me.
on
Only for
table.
me. On
No,
table
for me
Tabletopia.
as
Oh,
well.
I'm also doing the balancing of dexterity because I have stacked my cylinders on top of each other. Let's do another one. Nope, that didn't work. All right. And then I also have 3 blue vials, which I'm now going to demonstrate doing that all at the same time. Like so, as the green one rolls away there. I'm just going to let it roll. Oh, look at me placing these on here all at once. Great skills.
You practiced.
Oh, yeah, it's going great. So we have treated our patients here in conjunction with our doctors, and I'll check in over here. How you doing? How are things looking? Oh,
I'm
you have a
done.
much better. Oh, this is Wim is definitely giving me the runabout here. He's got an example of a patient that needed treatment with 2 different doctors. His one patient had a green, a blue, and a purple, so that couldn't be just treated with Merzad there. As Slepodorus had to help as well, and he is able to offer purple, and Morazad is able to offer blue and green. So this patient goes in between the two. You are not allowed to attach a doctor that is not needed to a patient in order to fulfill a contract. So if like that one doctor treated all 3 types of medicine, you couldn't just pop another doctor on the other side saying, oh, look, this doctor helped treat it. That is not allowed because you need that doctor in order to treat. And that was a wonderful example of that happening because they are treating both. They're both needed to treat that one patient. All right, so that is treatment phase. So then we are going to move into the last little bit that we're going to show here is the score phase. And then we're going to be done. So the way scoring works is we look back at our player boards, and did either of us have anyone in the examination room or ER? No, because it's the first round, nothing in the ER. And we both managed to treat both our patients, so we give ourselves a pat on the back and round of applause. And but otherwise, we'd move them down into Hades or the ER. Because we treated patients, we're going to get some reputation. Those pats on the back actually translate to real world likes. And so Wim treated 2 patients. He moves up 2 spaces. I also treated 2 patients and move up 2 spaces. You can do this in player order because it would affect, and you could, whenever in question for player order, you can do it in the order, like red would have moved first, then purple, then blue, then yellow, just so whoever is on top of each other does matter, but it did not there. So I am now in that coveted 2 doctor wage section, much better reputation, feeling pretty good about myself. And then we are also going to get victory points. So we go back to those delicately placed vials on our tiles, and those are going to, for all our treated patients, we're going to return those to the bag, which I won't do, and take a look here, and I'm going to get 3 victory points. So I'm going to give myself those 3 victory points, and then I'm going to flip that tile face down. And Wim is just, much more of an example of real world playing. He gives himself the points all at once there. I also want to flip my tile upside down, and then I'm going to take a look at this one. I get 4 points from that, as well as return these vials to the bag, which I'm totally going to do right now. Super easy. Into the bag. Boom. All right. And then I'm going to take those 4 points. And that is also going to get flipped over. Maybe I should zoom in there and make sure it's on the right space, because I think I'm cheating. I'm cheating, Wim. Again. All that cheating. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't notice. but I'm still ahead, so
Yeah,
okay.
you are. So it's all good. I cheat to lose. That's great. That's, I think, not what you're supposed to do. And then I flip this over. Now, my doctor, I don't have anyone that's going to retire because my doctor still has an unfulfilled contract. These are going to stay here to indicate that I have fulfilled those contracts. But Wim, I think you had a doctor that did everything it
Yes,
needed to do for you.
my new one only had one contract, so that's fulfilled. So he's ready to retire. He didn't work very hard, the guy.
Yes, but you get the 2 points from him and that he offered you, and then he
Yes,
goes away. So, and then those patients do stay because your basic doctor also needs to have
he
one
needs to.
more
Yeah.
fulfillment. Now that is the end of the scoring phase. But we'll just briefly talk about what would happen to reset for the next round. We won't actually have to do it all there for you, so you have to watch it because you all have been very patient and kind watching the video to this far. But we would get a whole new slew of medicine kits, so the ones that are still face up would get discarded. We'd flip over all the ones underneath. Same with the knowledge tiles. And that's also the round counter. So in the second round of the game, you'll have 3 in each of those piles. And in the third round of the game, you'll have 2. And in the last round of the game, there'll only be 1 remaining. And so you know that you're in the last phase of the game. And down here with the patients that weren't selected, they're kind of getting desperate. So they're going to have a bribe that gets offered to them. So we're going to actually add 1 drachma to each of those remaining patients there at the bottom so that they're more enticing for us to take in the future because we'll get that drachma immediately as soon as we grab that patient. And if they stick around for 2 rounds, they might have 2 drachma on them or even 3. But hopefully they'll get claimed so they can get treated for their various illnesses. And after that point, then we fill in the empty spaces with the patients from the corresponding columns, pull the dice off, and roll and begin again with the welcome phase. So that's 1 full round of table Hippocrates on Tabletopia. So with a teach and a play, took just a little over an hour there. So once you know how to play the game, it's probably about an hour, hour and a half to play all the rounds, and maybe
Yeah.
a little
Dep-
slower, quicker,
Depending on your
depending on your
skill. Yeah.
skills on Tabletopia. So thank you, everybody who did join us. I know we had a few viewers live, as well as this is going to get transferred over to YouTube. So if you're watching there, thank you very much for tuning in. And I want you all to go try Hippocrates on Tabletopia now so that you can give it a chance. There's the solo version as well with the solo rules attached, just so you know how to get the points from the ones you discard, and you're trying to beat those points to win the game. And it is on Kickstarter here until the end of next week, I believe. It's coming up, but we're still got a little bit of
Yeah.
time. If you're watching it
Seven,
after
8
that
days.
point, hopefully the you can jump on that late, or look for it coming in retail in Q4 of 2021. So thank you very much. Thank you, Wim, for joining me and playing the less knowledgeable player, even though you know this game in and out. So thank you very much, and for demonstrating.
Thank you for your explanation.
So, and thanks for joining us there in chat, Salty Horse, because Ori. So thank you very much.